Hey, Fran fam. Welcome to Life and Style with Francine. I am your host, Francine Walker. Happy Thursday Eve. Joining me today is Asia, the continent. Yes, the continent. Million. She is a Grammy-nominated songwriter, vocal coach, and author. Here to talk a little bit about her background, what she's got going on, her book, and all kinds of yummy goodies. Please join me in welcoming Asia to the show. Hey, Asia.
Hi, Francine. How are you?
I am fine. I just love to hear you talk, girl. I love Queens with a Queen's accent.
Oh,
Um,
okay, got you. Yeah, I
yeah,
get that all the time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now, are you based? Where do you currently reside, Asia?
I'm in Long Island. I'm still in
Okay,
New York, but I'm in Long Island.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Now, word on the street is you've worked with some pretty big names. Talk a little bit about your background and how you got started. I know you started your career in like 1995.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So so in high school we were working on our demo from then. So a year later we got picked up with a major, Elektra Entertainment. So that's how I started with meeting people and everything like that. Max Goose, Roger Romaine signed us, and Sylvia Rome, and we just met a lot of people on tour, promotional tours, and stuff like that. So one thing led to another. I mean, that's pretty much how I started meeting people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once I would record a song here and then somebody else would hear it and then they would refer me to do vocals for someone else and so forth and so forth.
Now, you mentioned Sylvia Rome. That's certainly a giant in the business,
Yeah.
one to, basically herald because, working in a male dominated industry
Hmm.
and to have the longevity that she had. Talk about some of the now. You were a vocalist as well as a songwriter when you first
Well,
signed?
when we signed, yeah, we signed as artists. So we
Okay,
were vocalists, but the producers did have us in the studio writing our own music.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how
Yeah.
you really kind of started with your songwriting chops, huh?
Right. You know, the producers would write like the hook. And
Yeah,
so we thought that they were going to write the whole thing for us, and we were cool with that because we really just love to sing.
yeah,
But what they did was, and I thought that was fair game. They told both of us, like, this is the hook. We would lay the backgrounds down, and then they would say, okay, you guys can write your verses.
sure.
So we started that way, and then that's when I was like, oh, okay, because I always wrote like in my journal and wrote poems and love
Yeah,
letters and all of that stuff.
yeah.
So that was the first time I was like, okay, this is how the songwriting aspect of writing works,
Okay.
and I liked it. It worked. It it kind of helped me learn how to express myself
Yeah.
because there's certain things that I just didn't want to say, I didn't feel comfortable saying, I didn't know how people were going to take it. But in writing, I was like, I like expressing myself this way. It seems safe.
Sure. Sure. Now, I understand you collaborated with Mary J. Blige. Is that correct? On a
Yes,
single.
yes, 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 yes.
Talk about that. What was that like?
That was an amazing experience. She was great. Like the first time that I met her, the first words that she said was, "Yo, this song is hot. Y'all sound like y'all having a lot of fun." And I'm like, "Wow,
Yeah.
it was amazing." She's humble. She's really dope. She's talented, as everyone knows. But then from this side of the scene, she allowed me to do my job, as the vocal producer, because it was
Sure.
a whole bunch of it was three of us that wrote the song together.
Okay.
But when it came down to the vocals and the arrangements and everything like that, I arranged it, so she allowed me to produce her vocals, and her energy was amazing. She was really quick. She didn't take long at all to do it.
Yeah.
And it was really, really, really great. It was a really good experience, you know.
Speaking of humble, I think you're, being a little humble. You've also worked with, I read, Diddy.
Well,
What?
so I worked out of Daddy's house,
Okay.
and he has a lot of creatives that he signed, producers and artists and songwriters that I was assigned by my manager to go work out of his studio. So it's
Right.
almost, it's like going to somebody's school and the principal's there, but they have you working with the students or,
Sure.
stuff like that. So I didn't work directly with him, but I was
Right.
working in his
But you were
studio.
affiliated with Diddy.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So talk
I mean, he
about,
would come in and say, I like this, leave this, change that, I don't like that. And that would be it. And then, on to the next. So,
yeah. Now, I understand that you have reinvented yourself a little bit. You
oh,
want to
yeah.
talk about your new venture?
Yeah, absolutely. I reinvented myself a lot, and not a little bit, a lot of it.
Yeah.
I grew up a little rough around the edges, you know what I mean? So, I was always a tomboy. I used to hang around my two big brothers a lot. So, I learned a lot from them. I
Sure.
have a big family. I learned a lot from my sisters as well. But I think my sisters were always busy, so my brothers had more time with me. So I kind of like see things like a man,
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
say think like a man, that was natural for me. So I grew up like a tomboy, but I think it wasn't until I started like dating and until I started working in the music industry and making friends that, a lot of people would tell me certain things about myself. And I am how do I call it? I have an evolved soul. I take accountability. So when someone tells me that I say or do something that may be hurtful, I
Yeah.
consider that and I always check myself. So I want to say, like, in my first book, I wrote the book and I told a lot about my personal life with my marriage and friends and stuff like that, and how difficult it was to balance being in a relationship with the career and all of that. So
Yeah.
I got into that story, but the feedback that I got from a lot of people for that first book was um it it was too short, and I omit a lot of the information that they would have wanted to hear. And
Well,
I
what's
did
the name
that.
of the book, Asia?
Say that again.
What's the name of the book?
The first book is, well, they're both Dreams, Love, and Music, but the first one, did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh,
This is
there we go. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yes. So that one is Dream Your Life, Then Live Your Dreams. And that one talks about the point that I was trying to make in that one is you can, like, I was suicidal, or I kind of like had my moments of what is life? What am I here for?
Yeah.
And in the process of thinking I wanted to die, I started finding my purpose, because it was like, instead of wanting to die, how would I want to live my life? And I began to dream. So I feel like dreaming is what saved my life. Just
I
kind of like
get
envisioning
that.
the type of life that I want to live.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk more about that in the book and inspire others to dream. It's okay to dream, but but you got to put the work in as well. And I wanted to focus on that. But a lot of people are in relationships that they don't know how to balance. And I think they wanted me to get more into the relationship aspect.
Yeah.
And so I wrote the second book, and the second book was it was supposed to be Dreams, Love, and Music revised, because I was going to revise it and add more. But in the process, Francine, of writing the book, I started revising my life. I started, like, as I'm writing, I'm realizing a lot of things about myself, going back in time, like crying and just feeling away, like maybe if I would have done things like this, things could have been differently. So I literally started revising my life. You know what I mean? So the second book was supposed to be Dreams, Love, and Music Life Revised, but I ended up changing it to Dreams, Love, and Music Lifestyle Revised. So it was basically showing other people, like, um it's okay to reinvent yourself and revise your life or recreate, because a lot of times we get stuck. A lot of times we don't know who we are. We
Yeah.
know who we were taught to be. We know who we become around certain people in a relationship. Sometimes we lose ourselves, but what happens when you spend time with yourself and you actually kind of like peel off all of these things that happen to you and you begin to heal? And I began to heal. And I mean, I cried a lot, but it felt good because I haven't cried in a long time. I'm just holding everything and running around trying to get things done and not feeling my feelings and becoming a robot. And then people that are close to you can feel the robotic energy and they're like, what's going on? Like you're like, you're not talking, you're not saying how you feel. And
Yeah.
I'm not realizing it because I'm just so busy doing everything that I have to do. But in the that process, especially like when the pandemic started, the whole coronavirus, I sat down and I said, you know what? Let me really, really, really just write. And I mean, I had no other choice because I was quarantined. I couldn't do anything else. So
Yeah.
I took advantage of that time and I finished the book, and it was like, wow, like I felt so good. And I said to myself, like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? You know,
Yeah.
so
So would you say your pen has been your healer? You talk about the low points, you
absolutely.
talk about feeling suicidal. What led to those feelings? Was it trying to balance a career, balance family, balance marriage? What led to you feeling like you wanted to take your life? And I certainly appreciate your candor, um, telling your story, because it happens to the best of us where we question our existence. So what led to you feeling that way, where you didn't want to be
Hmm.
here anymore?
Yeah, I know that's a good question. For me, I was by the time I was born, I was the fifth child. So by the time I was born, I had two brothers and two sisters that were older than me, and I love them all. They're all very strong in what and who they are,
Yeah.
but it was like they were also strong in telling me who they wanted me to be. So it was like when I was with one sister, it's like, okay, you got to dress like this. You got to do this. When I'm with the other sisters, like, okay, she's the older one and she's like the church one and she's always playing the piano and I had to sit down and sing with her. And then when I was with one brother, he would always throw a baseball cap on me and I had to be one of the boys. Um, and the same thing with my other brother too. So it was like, being around my brothers and just I think they toughened me up. They didn't want me to go through any of the things that a lot of females go through, like rape or dealing with guys or letting other guys take advantage of me. So they kind of toughened me up a bit, but inside I was like this little girl who wanted to be a little girl. I always wanted, like I wanted Barbie dolls and I wanted to just dream and I wanted to sing, but it was just like I had to be who everybody else wanted me to be. And
So it was like
sometimes,
an identity crisis.
say that again.
Was it like an identity
Oh
crisis?
yeah, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
it was so many different personalities and it wasn't like nobody knew. Everybody just thought that I was cool with everything or whatever. Nobody knew. Even my mom, she worked at a school. She was a secretary, so she's dealing with kids all day at school and then comes home. And it was like she just always had a lot going on. And then by the time we got home, she was tired. So I didn't really have my own attention or,
Yeah. I
have anyone that I could talk to about how I was feeling. So a lot of the times I would leave the house thinking, oh my gosh, like, just imagine like a little girl just standing there. Like nobody had bad intentions, but I'm just like, hello, can anybody hear me? And they're like, oh, shut up, go away or whatever. And
yeah.
I'm like, so I would leave the house thinking like, what the hell? Like, why am I even alive? But
Yeah.
when I left the house and I was by myself, those thoughts started going away. And I started
Interesting.
thinking, you know what I mean? I started
Yeah.
thinking about, do I really want to do this? How would everybody feel? I'm not selfish, so I can't even think of doing that without thinking of how people would feel. So I started thinking about all of these things, and then it went from that thought to, you know what? I don't know if I want to die. I was actually looking for life. You understand what I'm saying? I was actually looking for life. Like, what is going to be my life? Who am I? So, that's what I, talk about in the first book.
And is that when you started writing as a result of asking yourself that question?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you, Asiah, when you went through this? It sounds like pretty young, because to be that introspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always felt like, I think from about 4, I felt like that. But it wasn't until I feel like maybe 8, 9 that I started not wanting to be around. But one thing that I can say, my parents, we were religious, so we were always in a church. So anytime I ever felt like that, there was always a good distraction for me. Like, I would go to church, and then when I'm in church singing in the choir, I don't feel like that. But then when I come back home and these things, so it was always, my parents kept me in the church, and there were a lot of activities going on, so that distracted those thoughts. But I want to say, right before I think I was in 8th grade, because right before I got to high school is when I really had this thing. I had time with myself, and I said, you know what? How would I really want to live my life? And I decided I wanted to do music, because that was like the only thing that made me happy. Whether I was in church, because I had issues with religion. I felt like I couldn't be myself either. But when we sang, I felt amazing. And at home, I'm like, this is my family, and I love them, and I know they love me. But it wasn't until, like, we were playing music, because we had a lot of good times together. We played music, and it wasn't until the music was going that I was like, hey, I feel good. So it was just like, in any situation, every time music was playing is when I feel like myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, going into, I think it was the summertime when I graduated from 8th grade, going into high school, that I realized I wanted to sing. And that's when I got to high school, the first thing, I'm sitting down talking to my guidance counselor about all these classes. And I said, I don't care what class you put me in, just put me in the gospel chorus. She was like, okay, but what type of math? I was like, I don't care. Just put me in the gospel chorus. And that was really my focus.
Do you think that was because obviously that would give you the attention that you desperately needed? You were talented, and this was a vehicle for you to have the attention on you.
Well, you know what? The crazy part is I didn't want attention. What I wanted was something that actually made me happy. I wanted attention from my mom, and I wanted everybody to kind of like recognize that I have a voice. Yeah. But it wasn't about attention. It was more so about purpose. It was, this is more so, like, for instance, I never thought that I wanted to be a solo artist, because I actually, maybe because of young, I actually hate attention. I do. But I love harmonies. I love coming together with everything I did. I wanted to do it in a group. I love the Boys to Men's, and I love the En Vogues, and I love, SWV. So I just felt like that togetherness and harmonizing. I love that. So even when I was offered solo deals, it was like, I don't know if I want to go solo, because I don't really like singing solo on a stage. I don't really care about that type of attention. I never wanted that. I always shied away from that type of attention.
Talk about the Penn Station.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
Talk about the Penn Station.
Okay, so the Penn Station is that's my business, that's my company that I started. And that's about rewriting yourself. That's about rewriting your story, recreating the life that you actually really want. Again, if you're not happy with your current situation, how would you want that to go? How would you want it to be? So rewrite it. That comes along with the reinvent, revise, recreate. We have the power to do that. And I don't think a lot of us know that. You know, I
Now,
don't think a lot of us know that.
now with the Penn Station, is it for artists, authors? What's the main goal for your company?
So it did start off with artists, but ironically, a lot of the artists that I work with would call, like if I was doing vocal sessions, they would actually want to talk about their relationships, talk about their personal lives. Then I realized, like with the work that they knew that it was going to take to become an artist, they started pulling back. They're like, you know what, this is a lot, but I want to talk. I want to talk about. So I became certified as a life coach. So now it's not just artists, it's anyone who just needs that push, anyone who needs mentorship, or anyone who can just use direction or coaching on how to, rewrite their story. Or sometimes just giving someone permission to do that, because there are a lot of young people who, like me, just feel like they have to be who their parents told them to be, whether it's their religion, whether it's whatever they were taught, they have to be. Even in relationships, you become someone for the people that are close to you. But when it's not the right person, you actually can lose yourself in that process.
You can.
So,
yeah.
Sometimes people just need that permission. Like, it's really okay to say no. A lot of us don't know that. A lot of us say yes and do all these things that we really don't want, and then we become resentful, and I think in my coaching sessions, I opened it up. I said, this just cannot be for artists. I started catering more so to women, and I wanted to do like women empowerment, which I am, but I got a few guys who come in as well. So it's really open to anyone who is open, because a lot of people are not open to that because they think they already got it, which is, but it's open to anyone who's open.
Yeah. Now, is this something that do you see clients virtually, given the pandemic? How has that impacted what you're doing?
Well, now, yes, more virtually now than before. Even before, though, because I work with a lot of people from all over the world. So we did a lot of Skyping, and we did a lot of FaceTiming and video calls, virtual sessions. But anyone that, if they were in New York and they had a studio session, then I would go to their session and coach them or train them. There were times that people needed, me to come to where they are. So they would fly me out, and I would go there and I would coach them, train them. So it works. Like I'm very flexible, Yeah.
I understand you recently released a single. Is that correct?
Yes. What is it? Today is the second, 2 days ago.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Talk about
that. Yes. Oh, what'd you say?
I said, talk about that. The name of
talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So the single is it's chapter 2 from the book. So in the book, I'm releasing a song for each chapter. So the single that I recently released is called Driven. It is, so in the book, I talk about the things that give me drive. I talk about the things that keep me excited about life. I talk about how to find your purpose. Because once you know what gives you drive, you can also know what can cause you to crash, right? So I talk about in that process.
Say that again, Asia. That's powerful.
Once you know what gives you drive, you should also then be able to know what can cause you to crash.
Yeah.
And it is powerful, because that's how you can find your purpose. And once I did find my purpose, and that's when I learned that it's okay to say no, because I was scared to say no. You know what I mean? I didn't want to hurt other people, but I'm like, I'm crashing all the time. I'm crashing and I'm burning and I'm not feeling like myself. And so once I knew what gave me drive, it was easier for me to say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do that today. I can't make it. No, I don't have any more. Sorry. Or sometimes not sorry because, you know, I just can't do it for whatever reason. Right. And so because I found this new energy in that, I wrote the song Driven because I wanted to inspire a lot of other women, a lot of other females to understand, like, you have a purpose, you know, and you actually have the right to say yes or no, or what works for you, you know, or what doesn't. Like, you have to really feel, you have to spend time with yourself. And I don't think a lot of us get a chance to do that. But once you do, and you accept yourself, your energy, you know, you just become so, that's like how you find your magic.
Yeah.
So I wrote this song because I just wanted to inspire all of the females to, you know, just be great. It's okay.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because it sounds to me, it's some kind of, I guess I want to say pilgrimage, or this arrival that we're, you know, we're all on this journey where we realize we don't need to and we don't have to pour from an empty cup. You know, you said we can say no, it's okay. We can say no without explanation. I had just posted something. It's like, you know, people want to collaborate with you, but they really want your energy that you talked about. Right. They really want to tap into the energy, and you already know about collaborations, but sometimes people have an ulterior motive. They don't want to collaborate. They want you to do the work. And this happens a lot of times with women, a lot of times.
Wow. Where were you like 10 years ago? I would have needed that because I found that out recently.
Well, you know what? I would tell you, Asiah, I was probably learning this lesson now, I was probably learning that lesson 10 years ago.
Right.
You know, because we do certain things. That's why it's so important who we collaborate with relationship-wise, right? Because what ends up happening is we add value to this person that may not be the right person, but because we care, you know, we want to please that person. But what happens, it becomes a drain on us and what we need to do in relation to our own purpose. So I've learned, you know, I've done things in the name of love, and it's like today people will approach me because they see the energy. And you collaborate. It's like, you collaborate how? You know, spell it out, because I'm not going to figure it. I'm not going to define that. That's your responsibility to define what collaborate means, so that I can say no, because I'm already going to say no. You know, so it's something that it's just, I think, impressed upon us growing up as women, as you know, we handle the household, we handle everybody, we're nurturers by nature. So it sounds to me like you've come to a place where it's like, no, and not sorry, you know, hashtag not sorry, and it's okay, you know, it's okay. So it just seems, you know, that's what I was talking about, the reinvention. You were talking about the new business with the Penn Station, being alone. The pandemic has forced a lot of us to hit, you know, to come run right into ourselves. You know, being forced to stay home if you want to stay safe and be alive. So, you know, it's definitely been an opportune time for introspection. That's for sure, to go within. Talk about why, you know, what else you've got going on in relation to are you currently writing songs for each chapter as you're inspired, or is that a goal?
I do it. The plan is to do one chapter a month, but I did get a few major producers reaching out and they're throwing different things in my ear, and I'm flexible and I'm open. So I may not do one song a month. I may do another song. I'm thinking where I am now, like if for ending of November, beginning of December, I want to do like a really love Christmassy, not Christmassy, but holiday, just bringing family together because it could be for Thanksgiving as well. So I want to do one more song for this year, and then at the top of the year, and I'm going to be collaborating. Like my focus for the rest of this year,
Yeah.
is to work with other artists and work with other producers. And 2021, I want to put out a compilation album, like a soundtrack.
Nice.
And the rest of the songs may just be put out all together like an album.
And we can keep up with you on Instagram.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what is your Instagram?
It is The Continent. TheContinent.
And where can we find your book?
The book is online at Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. You can go to my website, www.asiamillion.com, and it makes it easy for you to just click on the links. And it is actually it's on Books a Million.
Yeah.
And I've seen it on other stores are picking it up as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Asiah, for being on the show. I appreciate you taking the time to share such a candid story that can encourage anybody that is watching that feels like they want to give up. And it sounds like just hang on in there and find purpose keeps us alive. I appreciate you, being so candid about what you've gone through and how you've been loving enough to, decide I want to live and, I don't want to leave my family. Anything else you want to add before we close the show?
I want to say thank you for having me. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for knowing that it's okay. And I do want to say like I love women, but a lot of women don't get it. And that's why I'm so big on women empowerment. So I just want to thank you for being one of those women who can identify self and other energies and knowing when to say no and everything like that. You don't find that too often. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, honey. Oh my God, we're in this together, and I mean that.
Yeah.
When I say I'm my sister's keeper, I mean that. We have to stick together. We have to. We're all we got.
Right.
We're not all. We're the most disrespected and the least protected. And so we've got to stand up. We got to empathize. We can't judge. So it was my pleasure to, be able to have this platform for you to come and share your story, share your triumphs, share some great things that are coming down the pike for you. Congratulations on the publishing of your book, your new single, and what's to come. I pray that you walk into much more abundance and success as you move forward with love and strategy and intention. You're on your way. You're on your way. You're going to take over the continent. Many continents.
Well, listen, well received. Thank you. And I'm going to throw the ball back at you. And I wish the same for you.
I received it. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. And I've got here, you can go for more information. We can go to your website, asiamillion.com. And thank you again. We will wish you well. And we have a great weekend. It's almost here.
Yeah, it's almost here. All righty. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for watching. I always get that mixed up and throw that off. Thank you for watching, guys. What a great testimony. What a great, great woman. Please support her. You can go to her go to Instagram at The Continent. Thank you again for joining me. Hopefully you were encouraged by her story. I certainly was. And if You'd like to be a guest on the show, drop us a line at lifeandstylewithfrancine@gmail.com. You can follow us at Francine Walker TV on Instagram. Life and Style with Francine is my Facebook page. And always go to my YouTube page, like and subscribe so that you can see the replay. Please, leave some great comments and encourage us all as we embark and continue to use this platform to empower, encourage, and inform. Have a great day, guys. See you soon.